and welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. So last week we talked about the absolute train wreck that was the VRChat anti-cheat update, and things have developed quite a bit. Cease and desist, tons of features, mass exoduses. There's a lot here, and this is kind of one of the more historic things for VR in general. But also, Meta has been sued directly by the FTC as an attempt to, quote, stop them from owning the entire metaverse. The Pico Neo 4 is coming way sooner than you'd think with new leaks, and it's looking really good. Plus, some Bone Lab stuff. All that and so much more, let's just get right into the news. So to start this one off, I kind of wanted to do something for you guys, and thank every single subscriber and viewer of this channel. We're about to hit an insane landmark for YouTube, and I wanted to do something really special to give back to the VR community. We're about to hit 100 million views and a total of 1,000 years of watch time just on ThrillSeeker. That's collectively 1,000 years that people have watched VR-only content here on this channel, and I'm absolutely blown away. Thank you, ThrillSeeker community. So, to celebrate 1,000 years of ThrillSeeker, I'm working with a few companies to put together the biggest, baddest VR giveaway the world has ever seen, hopefully just to get a couple more people in VR. Over the next month, we're giving away a signed, custom water-cooled 3090 Ti powered PC with a Valve Index. Also, a couple Quest 2s, a bHaptics vest, and a bunch of keys to different games. Ultimately, we're just trying to get more people in VR and have a good time doing it. Links will be down below. It's a basic Gleam giveaway, but the finals will be announced in my Discord server 1 month from now. All you have to do is the basic Gleam stuff and write a short essay in my Discord server in the giveaway channel as to why you're interested in VR. And then you're in. I am also launching a ThrillSeeker Shorts channel for constant VR content on all the weird hardware I have around, so check that out if you see it. But finally, the news. Let's talk about this VRChat situation. So last week I made a full video basically breaking down what was happening with VRChat implementing easy anti-cheat. This one update caused massive resistance within the VR community. Review bombings bringing the Steam store page to overwhelmingly negative and triggering a mass exodus of players away from the platform. And not gonna lie, I thought VRChat would reverse this decision, at least temporarily, especially considering how much backlash they got. It was immense. But a day after my video went live, so did the easy anti-cheat update officially. And this is where things got interesting. I'm gonna start with the impact it had on other VR games. The two competitors, I guess, to VRChat are Neos and Chill Out VR, both social VR games that do similar things. Of course, there are others, but I'm gonna talk about these two mainly. And during this whole easy anti-cheat event, both platforms hit the highest concurrent players they have ever seen. Neos, with over 1,700 players, and Chill Out VR, probably the most similar game to VRChat, had over 10,000 requests to make an account in a single day according to their lead developer, pretty much crashing their entire servers. They just weren't ready for it. And both of these platforms offer their own individual things that are awesome, but they've both lacked a single thing that they needed to make their game take off in the past, and that's a consistent, decent-sized player base. And this is where VRChat, in my opinion, made its biggest mistake. Nobody has had any reason to play anything other than VRChat for years, really. It's garnered probably the most hardcore following of any VR game, but VRChat literally gave people a reason to try other similar applications that are their competition. And even though Neos and Chill Out VR are not perfect, like, let's be real, they both need lots of work. But they both just got a big boost of users, and some of them are going to be sticking around and staying on that platform. In fact, I'm working on an entire video on Neos right now because it's probably the most advanced VR game ever made, and I'm entirely addicted. But I really wouldn't have popped in to play for hours and hours if this all didn't happen, which I think is going to be a common thing. And then you got Chill Out VR, which is taking the total opposite stance compared to VRChat. They're openly accepting mods to be part of the game and experience. So, what did VRChat do to combat all of this? Well, they really did step in and they started adding nearly all of the features that people were asking for, most of which previously were mod only. Horizon adjust, movable main menu, personal mirror, gesture indicator, particle limiter to stop crashers, text-to-speech, speech bubbles, AMD FSR, and more, including audio fall-off and solo audio. And look, there's two sides to this. On one side, within a couple weeks, we're getting nearly every every feature we asked for, which is great. VRChat is just better because of that. On the other side, people have been asking for these features for literally years, then VRChat takes them all away with an anti-cheat, then somehow within weeks adds them back in as original features. Just kind of makes me scratch my head as to why these things didn't come before Easy Anti-Cheat, or 2 years ago. But this still doesn't change the fact that many people just didn't want EAC in their game, and they went ahead with it anyways. Oh, and the VRChat team has also given legal cease and desist to a certain modding group that was trying to create a private modded VRC server. But regardless of all of this, I have reached a personal conclusion here. VRChat, contrary to popular belief, really didn't lose that many players. For most users, this kind of changed nothing. And for a couple days, VRChat's player base was down by 10 to 20%, and they're now left with this mark of overwhelmingly negative. But what this whole thing did do is change the course of VRChat forever. This is something that not many people talk about. But there's another, even bigger VR social game that also has easy anti-cheat, Rec Room. And if you look at the paths both Rec Room and VRChat have taken, they're very, very similar. Both are industry leaders with hundreds of thousands of players, they both have raised hundreds of millions of dollars from investors, and they answer to those investors, not the consumers using the product. They have to have structurally clean games. The idea that a single outbreak of a bad mod can ruin a $100 million investment is out of the question. So if you want answers as to why VRChat implemented easy anti-cheat, it's to protect the investor's investment, not necessarily to make the consumers have a better experience. Which leads me to my conclusion. VRChat has gone down a path. It's not dead. It's not going to die. It still has a community, and the community is pretty great, and their numbers will still grow, but it's no longer that hyper enthusiast VR Wild West place it was. It's corporatized. It's Rec Room. It's Meta Horizons, just with legs. They've gone down a path towards a cleaner, marketable place that was just very different from VRChat's grassroots. And I think that's really why people are so pissed. It's like a bad breakup. VRChat is just going to be a lot more sterile, which is kind of okay, because there are other applications that do have that same grassroots VRChat feel. And hey, now they actually have a sizable player base. In the end, competition is good, and this is exactly what just happened. I used to spend all of my time only on VRChat because it had everything I needed and everything I wanted out of a social VR platform. And I think now I'm just going to be splitting my time a lot more. More time in Neos, trying out crazy things, more time checking out sanctioned mods in CVR, and maybe just a little less time in only VRChat. There's just so much awesome innovation in other VR places, you just gotta go check them out. I'm not quitting VRChat, I'm just accepting that they're going down a path that, isn't as fun. And I will also mention, these deals for implementing anti-cheats are a big deal. Even if VRChat really wanted to, I don't think legally they could have reverted to non-easy anti-cheat without being penalized by lawsuits and millions of dollars of fines, which again would look bad to investors. It would look great to the community, but bad to investors. And who do you think just gave VRChat $80 million last year? Not the community, the investors. VRChat didn't die. It just showed its biggest card of going down a very corporate path. And I hope the best for them. Still amazing fun to be had in VRChat, and I will continue to have fun there and have events there, but there's just more to social VR than just VRChat. But now on to Meta. Some crazy stuff is happening over there right now that could have some lasting effects over the next few years. Of course, we all know that the Quest 2 has increased in price across the board by $100. And among other things I've already talked about, this seems to be pretty directly to change the ratio of R&D costs to revenue. Meta infamously spending $10 billion on the XR industry, which is great for the industry, but not so great for Meta. And it seems in general, not even due to this price increase, their internal efforts are paying off to cut costs. For one of the first times, Reality Labs' revenue grew faster than their costs. For the first quarter of this year, their revenue grew by 35%, while their costs inflated to 55%. And while the most recent quarter, revenue grew by 48% and costs only grew grew by 19%, a much more sustainable looking number. And I'm sure this month's increasing of price of the Quest 2 will be aiding in these cost-saving measures in the future, which Meta is going to need these cost-saving measures. They just got hit by another nasty lawsuit by the United States Federal Trade Commission. However, this one's a little different from the past few lawsuits. Every FTC complaint leading up to this has more or less been about Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. But this time, it's very particularly about Meta buying out so many VR game studios. And the FTC is actively trying to block their most recent acquisition. And I mean, this gets pretty hot. The FTC is saying, quote, "This acquisition poses a reasonable probability of eliminating both present and future competition. That lessening of competition may result in reduced innovation, quality, and choice. Meta would be one step closer to its ultimate goal of owning the entire metaverse," end quote. Geez, that's some pretty harsh wording. And the acquisition this lawsuit directly talks about is Supernatural, a VR fitness app, a deal that was supposed to close this month after starting last year. The FTC worrying that after 6 studio acquisitions, this one takes it a little too far and corners the market a little too much. Meta's response basically saying that this was entirely speculation and that this, quote, "is sending a chilling message to anyone who wishes to innovate in VR," end quote. While the FTC claims that Meta should not be able to acquire Supernatural and should instead build their own fitness app and should let competition take its course. And I'm no lawyer, nor do I know the specifics of anti-competitive laws, but this feels weird. There are so many other examples I could point out where Meta were more anti-competitive than this, and it's a pretty weird thing to say that if Meta acquires Supernatural, it'll be a step closer to owning the metaverse. But this, at the very least, shows that the FTC is watching Meta and VR very closely. And we've already seen some of Meta's antics change because of this, like they've actually legitimately changed some of their guerrilla tactics that they've used for the past few years. I think because they're being watched so closely by everybody, they're facing a lot more scrutiny and they're taking it decently well, but it's still a good idea to keep on the gas. Competition is everything, and with the same transition I used last week, now we get to talk about some of that competition. The Pico 4 is on its way in just a couple months. This headset is likely pretty much what we imagined the Oculus Quest 3 would be: smaller, slimmer, and sleeker. And we have some new information on it. Scarred Ghost posted a few pictures of leaked Pico 4 controllers, and admittedly, I love this design and I think it looks pretty awesome. Gives me some SNES controller color vibes, but of course, I don't know how much I'd like it until I get my hands on it. It seems that Pico is going for a 2-device launch, the standard Pico 4 being a direct Quest 2 competitor, possibly a successor, while a Pico 4 Pro having eye tracking and face tracking to compete directly with Project Cambria. Already, these controllers are doing the right things. They have all the typical buttons of a VR controller, unlike some other controller iterations from other companies. Although there's something interesting here. I have caught wind that the Pico 4 will only be releasing in Europe, at least at first, which is either the smartest or craziest marketing decision I have ever seen for something like this. Maybe dominate the European market, then move to North America when the app catalog is competitive to Meta's, while offering a possibly better headset for around the same price. Word around the block says that September is the time, so definitely mark your calendars for that. Now some info on Bone Lab. Stress Level Zero's newest game coming sometime within the next year. Brandon JLA mentioned they will be implementing a new system of inputting the user's t-shirt size to approximately size custom imported avatars, which was announced to be coming to the game when they first announced the game. This, alongside height, is how they're going to be keeping everything consistent, even with modded content being supported throughout the game. Just found this particularly interesting because I haven't seen this used in any other VR game. So another fun week of VR news, and don't forget about that giveaway, a Dream PC Index Quest haptic suits. Once again, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone here and thank you to everyone that loves VR and watches this content. Also, this Neos video is likely gonna blow your socks off this weekend. This application is absolutely nuts. And thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you love this, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.